see Michaelhouse run out, led by Keenan Knox. And they're a team with a lot of heart, play with a lot of grit, and the emotion of the day, the derby day, that will only be amplified.
Yeah, I think we sit in a similar situation from a Hilton point of view, in that we started off with a good win against DHS down at Kings Park, and then went away to the St John's Festival and lost narrowly to in their first game against Uffies, and then had two good wins against St John's Harare and St John's Joburg. Went down narrowly to Kersney 13-10, and then had a good win last week against St Charles. So I think both sides are sitting in a similar boat at the moment. And as I said earlier, this fixture always brings up the best in both sides.
So it'll be William Glassock to kick off for Michaelhouse.
Right, looks like we're all set to go here. Hilton playing away from their crowd, and I think they'd be happy with that. They normally like to play back towards the school and towards the crowd in the second half, so I think they'd be happy with the direction they're playing. This is just a good start there. Good to kick off from Michaelhouse, well taken by Hilton. Useful exit down the middle of the field. I think a big thing that will no doubt stand out from a Hilton point of view is their defence. They'll try and hold a steady defensive line and strangle Michaelhouse. Just having a look at that kick chase there. How Hilton's pretty organised on the defensive line already. George Pata carrying the ball up there. Hilton coming on the blind side. Tom Fraser with the ball in hand now. Well defended by Michaelhouse. Again, a big carry up the front. I think both sides will probably look to bash it up the middle. To try and create out wide. I think we'll probably play similar rugby in a lot of respects.
So a very well-rehearsed, well-drilled start from Hilton. You can see the pre-planned exit out to the left boot, and then quick line-out ball at the back there, short line-out, coming back to short side, and they've won the penalty for themselves.
Gareth Schroeder with the ball in hand here. Looks like they're going to stick it into the corner. Probably look to maul it up from there, I would say. Showing some confidence from a Hilton's point of view. First line out uncontested for Michaelhouse, so it'll be quite interesting to see what they do here now, whether they get up and have a go at the Hilton ball.
And stolen by Luke Johnson at the front.
Yeah, and they've conceded a penalty there. What looks for probably offsides, I would think. Maybe not retreating back the full 10. I think Hilton a little bit lucky there in that they botched up the line out in a key area there. Gareth Schroeder, the fullback for Hilton, going to have a shot at goal there.
That's a pity from the Michaelhouse point of view. The line out is something that they're going to be hoping to target today. Johnson managed to get up, win it at the front. They go up and contest in pods of 2, just gives them a little bit more manoeuvrability. But I'm not sure if it was the back line or the loose forwards. Somebody came up with beyond the 10-metre offside line. Now he has an opportunity for Schroeder to draw first blood.
Gareth's a grade 11 boy. Is a top cricketer, and I think probably got aspirations to kick on and make it in the cricketing world, but he's definitely an X-factor player from a Hilton point of view. He's done pretty well from a kicking point of view so far in the season, but just an out-and-out talent when it comes to sport. And Schroeder's smashed that straight through the middle, so a good start for him. Will do Hilton a lot of good, some confidence there. Good exit resulted in some points for them. I think the key here again is for both sides is to be able to secure the ball here now and exit. I know Hilton work on that really hard, so they would be in a situation where they would look to play as little rugby as possible in their half. Michaelhouse doing well there to catch Nicholas Winskill. There's a race on here between Gareth Schroeder and the Michaelhouse scrum
Tom
half.
Price, the scrum half, manages to get back in time, sweeping, and Michaelhouse get out of jail a bit there after missing some first up tackles. You're going to have to pay attention at kickoff time, Michaelhouse. Hilton have managed to twice now dominate, winning the ball and then taking it immediately back into Michaelhouse territory.
I think that's the key for Hilton here is a guy like Gareth Schroeder, who has got that X factor and he's got the ability to make a difference in a game like this. And Nick Winskill not getting held in the tackle and breaking away, and obviously with the wingers back there's a hell of a lot of space to be able to manipulate. So the 22 drop out there by Michaelhouse, taken by Fadzai. Mashonga set up here in the middle by Hilton, playing one or two little tip-offs to get in behind Tristan Warren an attack there. Knock on from Michaelhouse.
Gunther Kamala going for the intercept there. It was probably quite a timiest incursion by him. Hilton were looking dangerous there. And Michaelhouse just need to watch the outside man, offloads and running into space, and feels the defense is looking just a touch brittle at this stage. They're going to be wanting to give Hilton less space, less time on the ball.
Because we're talking just now about the fantastic rivalry. I was just watching the two scrum halves there next to each other at the first scrum and give each other a high five. And there has been over the years such a fantastic rivalry, but such a healthy rivalry. Such good mates. These guys have played against each other for 5 years now, most of them, and get to know each other fairly well. So it's good to see that it's hard out there, but there's still the friendships that are built through the years. So first scrum here to Hilton. Hilton obviously creating a little bit of pressure up front there and forcing a penalty. Looked like a loose head from Michaelhouse not being able to hold his bind.
I'm not quite sure what that penalty was for. The ref's now approaching Keenan Knox. It was on the other side. It was Andrew Holt, the loose head side. Can't quite see the signal from here, but the ref obviously wasn't happy with something.
Yeah, I think he had spoken about breaking his bind there, so it's a technical area that I'm not convinced everybody gets it right all the time. And I think unless you've played in the front row, it'll be difficult to get it spot on every time. But Gareth Schroeder's placed the ball. He's going to have another shot at goal. Good strike by Gareth Schroeder. Takes Hilton to 6-0 up. Yeah, I think Hilton will be very happy with the start so far, Chris. They've managed to maintain and keep the ball. Put Michaelhouse under a little bit of pressure from a defensive point of view, and they've asked a few questions. I think it'll be quite interesting to see when Michaelhouse do get hold of the ball, what's going to happen there.
Yeah, Michaelhouse will be desperate now for some possession. And Hilton just looked slightly more clinical in the opening exchanges here. Few mistakes, few missed tackles.
I think also what's happened here is you'll have a look and see that Hilton have pretty much won every collision. You know, we've managed to go forward, and every time we've run the ball up. So obviously that'll stand them. Instead, we're going forward, makes it difficult from a defensive point of view when they've got a release.
And definitely winning the kicking game so far. After every kick, they've won possession back almost immediately. But here's Michaelhouse's first opportunity. Liam England takes it up from fullback after a knock-on from Hilton, and they win the penalty.
Not riding away there by Jono Smith. Quite tough, that rule nowadays, because it doesn't matter where you land. The expectation is that you have to get out, and sometimes when you a pile of bodies on top of each other is quite difficult. But the key here is for Michaelhouse, I think, to get hold of the ball and put Hilton under a little bit of pressure.
It has been a bit of a hallmark of the Michaelhouse game this season so far. Haven't been as clinical as they would have liked. They have generally made it up with a lot of heart and guts, but again they make a simple mistake and Glasgow doesn't find touch. But it appears like there's been a knock-on from Hilton, so they will receive a scrum just about where he would have hoped to kick it out. But now they really do need to hang on to the ball, get over the advantage line, look for some space, and just really get into the game.
Just having a look at the Michaelhouse backline, how they're lined up here. I'm probably banking that they're going to try and smash it up in the centres, and then look to come around the corner from there and try and get some momentum on the ball from there.
Hopefully we can get through a scrum now. Something we always hope that the two front rows get right early on, that we don't spend too much time restarting the game. But the big runner, number 13, Wesley Turkington for Michaelhouse, standing what appears to be first receiver here. Will likely use him to punch up the middle, but Michaelhouse have given away another penalty at the scrum. Not ideal to be having all these scrum penalties at this stage.
Yeah, I think they're just creating unnecessary pressure for themselves. There was an opportunity on the halfway line to make use of some ball, and again, I think it looks something to do with the bind at scrum time. But yeah, they're putting themselves under unnecessary pressure. Yeah.
So Hilton have found touch just over the Michaelhouse 10-metre line again. They take it fairly quickly at the back with a short line out.
George Putter carrying up and again winning a good collision there. Hilton looking to run the blind side, a little pop inside a chip on the Pesa. He's got fantastic feet. Done really, really well to beat a few Michaelhouse defenders. And again, I think the relentless pressure from Hilton here has forced another penalty. Some silly mistakes by Michaelhouse at this stage. We spoke earlier on about the big occasion, and just seems to be that they're not making good decisions at the moment.
It seems like almost an impatience to their game at the beginning here. There's possibly just a little bit of a lack of composure, and eventually these penalties add up, and they'll be wanting to get some discipline immediately after this. Schroeder's shown that he's got a clean boot on him this afternoon, and he'll punish them all day long. But I think what it comes to is a bit of frustration at not having possession, making mistakes when they have possession.
Another good kick by Gareth Schroeder. So it takes Hilton out to a 9-0 lead here. Accumulating points here quite nicely. So it does. They do all add up, and I think Michaelhouse definitely need to get their hands on the ball if they want to get themselves back into this game. As we mentioned earlier, because this is first couple of minutes in the game. There's a hell of a lot of rugby still to be played here.
Michaelhouse need a good kickoff here. Hilton have been quite dominant in how they've handled the kickoffs, how they've exited from their own half, whether it's been with ball in hand, box kicks, punts down the field.
Another exit by Gareth Schroeder there, not kicking into touch. and Michaelhouse fullback with the ball here. He's done well to hand off 1 or 2 players. But again, Hilton have pegged them back in their own territory through some really good defensive lines. Michaelhouse come away with the ball now, and let to see what they can do with it. He's a big unit, that tight head.
Keenan Knox has been one of the primary attacking weapons from tight head prop this season. And what you'll probably see now is Michaelhouse being patient with the ball, taking it through the phases, and just as I say that, they spill it forward. And Hilton have the advantage now and possession. But again, too many silly errors from Michaelhouse.
And again, Hilton going to the big heavies up the middle, sucking a few of the Michaelhouse boys in. Again, winning some good collisions here. So
there's space opening out wide.
Opportunity here for Hilton out wide. A good cross-cover tackle there, saving a certain try. But Chipa Mapesa with the ball now. He's taking it off 9. Hilton recycling well. They've got an opportunity up the middle. Tim Densham with gone over for the try. It's been quite clinical from Hilton at this stage.
What are we? 20 minutes in now, 15 minutes in, and you have to give Hilton credit. They've actually played extremely well in the first 15 minutes. Everything's gone according to plan. Hardly any errors. You can see they've got plans for how they're going to receive the kickoff, what they're going to do with the ball, and Michaelhouse have almost, unfortunately, allowed those plans to just flow perfectly from a Hilton point of view. And they're going to need to cut out the errors. They're going to need to try and win possession of the kickoff here and try and get back into this game as soon as possible.
Just the character of this Michaelhouse side through the years. Obviously through the years they would have gone down a couple of points. I mean, they're only 14 points back behind at this stage. But there's some strong characters that you believe that can pull it back for them.
I think particularly the games that they've won so far this season, against both Westfall and Kersey, they've come from behind. So at this stage they'll still be believing behind the posts. But I think at the same time they'll realise that if they don't get into this game now, and if they don't get something on the board, some possession, some territory, then it quickly can get out of reach.
I think that what's been so good for Hilton at this stage is they haven't made any mistakes. They've got hold of the ball, they've utilised it, they've put real pressure on Michaelhouse in their own territory, and Michaelhouse have made 1 or 2 small mistakes at that, and it's cost them dearly. So I think the Hilton coaching staff, Brad McLeod-Henderson, would be very excited about the things are going. But there's still a lot of time. And there's a mistake by Hilton in their 22, as we were just saying. So here's an opportunity for Michaelhouse to have a go. Managed to shift the ball out wide, and they found a bit of space out there. Some good defence by Fadzai Mashonga. The pick and drive from Michaelhouse made some yards on that. So sure way to get themselves back into this game here now.
Glasgow taking it up there. This is exactly what Michaelhouse needed to get some possession from the kickoff. Calvert-Evers runs off Liam England's shoulder. Unfortunately, it seems like they've turned over possession, although it's come back their side with Luke Johnson taking it up. They'll be wanting to get to ground though now.
See, Michaelhouse got very narrow on that attack there. They've been known to have such good width. And they've had to throw a couple of extra numbers into the ruck, and hence they've lost that width. Oh, there's an opportunity here for Michaelhouse, and knocked out into touch there by George Pata.
Yeah, knocked out of the ruck by what seemed to be a Hilton foot, and Tom Price actually reacted very well. Decided to have a chip ahead under pressure, found a little bit of space, and Hilton have taken it out for a Michaelhouse line-out.
Yeah, Hilton's sitting with a 16-0 lead at this stage, but one try here brings Michaelhouse straight back into the game. His opportunity to score here now with him being in our 22, and to get on the board here now, all of a sudden it's game on again. So using the big man around the side there with a little pick and drive. And
great defense from Hilton. Price at the base. Out to Glassock. There's quick ball there if they can use it. Back to Johnson. Knox carries again. And they're committing quite a few numbers to the ruck, almost limiting their options in terms of attacking width. Out to Glassock, throws a little bit of a hospital pass to Calvert-Evans, who manages to beat one man. Quick ball out to Glassock again. He goes with a little chip cross field. And unfortunately, England can't get onto the end of it.
They have worked themselves a penalty here. Be quite interesting to see whether they'll have a shot at goal here, or stick it out in the corner and try for the.
Yeah, I'd imagine they would.
7-pointer.
They would go for the line out here.
So again, this game changes so quickly. Hilton have created all the pressure from in the first 15 minutes. Michaelhouse have got hold of the ball. It looks like they're going to run with it here now. So again, as soon as they've put Hilton under pressure, they've looked good.
Kershaw takes it up. It goes through the hands of the forwards, and Calvert-Evans is close. Little inside ball to Opperman. He's at the base of the post. Michaelhouse appealing to the ref to award the try. He's coming back for something. It seems like he's having a word with Tom Price for a bit of verbal. Nice little inside ball from Tom Price to the grade 11 flanker, Christian Opperman. And Michaelhouse will be awarded the scrum.
A great attacking opportunity here. They've got both sides of the field, and for me, an 8-9-15 is always deadly in these situations. Hilton under a little bit of pressure here.
Choosing to load their backline on the left-hand side of the field. I wonder if that means they're hoping just to go with an 8-9-14 move down the right, away from the defensive scrum off. But what they really need to do first of all is secure their scrum ball. Holt has already been penalised twice on the loose head for losing his bind. But it's been apparent how Michaelhouse like to use their tight five to take the ball up as attacking weapons through the hands of Knox at times. Calvert-Evans has done well, made it over the advantage line. Johnson has been fairly prominent. It's hooked effectively. They go left, Glassock, switch into Marco Parao, and he's over the line for a try.
See quite a lot of involvement from the ref already. I see he's had a couple of chats to everybody, and let's hope it doesn't get to a situation where he's dominates proceedings here. We'd be love to have a nice quiet day at the office from a reffing point of view, and just let the boys get out and play some rugby.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a balancing act for a schoolboy ref. You do want to let the game flow, but at the same time you do have to keep structure. And I think what's happened is there's been a little bit of a frustration on the Michaelhouse side at their own mistakes, at not having possession, and there was a bit of desperation just to get over the line there. But hopefully they'll settle now, having got what should be the 7 points, which they do, and they're right back into the game. And they'll be receiving a kickoff for the first time, and they'll be hoping to dominate the receipt of the kickoff as Hilton has done most of the kickoffs so far. Every time, the first time Hilton didn't quite secure their kickoff ball, Michaelhouse stayed in their half and managed to score. So it just shows how vital receiving kickoffs successfully is.
See, there's a blood replacement for Hilton at hooker here. Dylan Thomas coming on, replacing Tim Densham, the try scorer just now. Obviously the rule being that he's got 15 minutes to get fixed up. So I'm sure they'll rush him around the back. patch him up quickly and then get him back on the field. He's had a good start to the game as Densham, scoring the try. And nice deep kick-off from Hilton. Gone through to Knox. Carries well. Good to set it up here, and Michaelhouse look to exit from here.
Off Glassock's right boot, but he hasn't secured touch.
Fantastic counter-attack there by Hilton. Graham Curtis, the scrum off, getting the ball, squeaking through a little gap and offloading inside to Tristan Warren, who finished off. Yeah, I think the Michaelhouse boys defensively are going to need to get themselves together here and rethink what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, Curtis just found a tight 5 player, a lock. I think it was Calvert Evers, just to get outside of. And kind of use his pace to get around him, and that's off your kickoff. It's not ideal for your luck being the chaser. And again, it just shows how vital kickoffs have been to this game so far. Whereas Hilton have been successful with their kickoff receipts, exiting from their kickoffs, and Michaelhouse, first time they're receiving kickoff, haven't, and unfortunately for them, have leaked some points again.
It's probably been a game about pressure so far. You know, you've got Hilton that have transferred the pressure that was meant to be on them from kickoffs, and they've transferred it back onto Michaelhouse quite nicely. And then with those kicks or those exits, they've actually managed to put Michaelhouse under huge pressure in their own half. And I think that's been the difference between the two sides at the moment. They've who's handled the pressure the better. Schroeder pulling that one around the corner. I think he'd be disappointed with that. Like I said earlier, as a fantastic kicker of a rugby ball. And it does take Hilton up to a 21-7 lead. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting last 10 minutes here in this first half.
Michaelhouse will probably be desperate to get some points before the halftime whistle goes. And they just need to be a little bit more disciplined now.
So George Putter's taken the kick-off like he has on 3 or 4 occasions. Getting good go forward for the boys, and an exit by Graham Curtis as he's managed to keep it in field. But again, a fantastic kick which pushed them right back into their own territory.
Got a little bit of space out wide if they use it, but England doesn't make the pass, which was probably a mistake. But they recycle it, goes through the hands to Parao. Parao takes on the left wing,
Tom Fraser. And a little pick and go from Michaelhouse. They've lost the ball in the contact. There's an opportunity again, I think, for Hilton to get in, get hold of the ball and keep them under pressure. Winskill with a little inside pass to Gareth Schroeder. Gareth Schroeder's done well to look after the ball. And again, a little bit of space here for Winskill. A good tackle by Knox, the big fella. He's got around the park quite nicely so far in the game. Jared Fenter carries nicely in the middle. And Hilton, again, just creating some good pressure here through maintaining the ball and some good quick ball as well. Vaughan Williams strong in the contact. And Heinrich Marks there losing in contact. So all over the show from both sides, but because they chat about the conditions here quickly. It's been a nice, fantastic, warm day. So there's no doubt that the ball will get a little bit slippery later when it gets a bit sweaty. So I'm sure we will see a few balls go to ground, but the handling has been good so far.
There haven't been too many handling errors, and Michaelhouse will be somewhat relieved. Hilton were looking particularly strong on that attack. A couple of offloads, mixing it up between attacking in the narrow channels and then moving it out wide. It's actually fairly warm afternoon here in the Midlands. Usually the last time I commentated this fixture I was freezing at the top of our scaffolding, but yeah, I'm actually feeling the sun bearing down on me a little bit as I sit here on the halfway line.
It'll be quite interesting to see how that it takes its toll. You know, both sides have got some heavy forwards, and obviously conditioning plays a big part. So that last 10 minutes of this game, it's always going to be a scrap till the end. It'll be interesting to see how the big fellas handle it. It is particularly warm out there, and it's been a long day for everybody. So it'll be quite interesting to see how they get along into those last couple of minutes.
You'll also hear the respective schools both getting louder and louder as the second half gets deeper and deeper, and that often has the effect of just pushing their first 15 onwards. But if either side is still in touch in the last quarter of the game, then anything can still happen. But Michaelhouse now just needs to ensure that they stay in touch.
And Tim Dencham's come back on, obviously been patched up, a little bit of blood. So Dylan Thomas has gone off, made a good impact when he got on here. Michaelhouse scrum just outside there, 22.
They've got an overlap left and right, so they really need to try and attack from here. Fraser Jones takes it up, makes about 8 meters. But the overlap is now gone.
Yeah,
Calvert Evers takes it up. And Michaelhouse finds some space out wide with Knox to Turkington. Was that Liam England? It's Liam England taking it up to the 10-meter line. There's a Hilton boy down in the middle of the field injured.
Yeah, flanker Jared Fenter, he looks like he's taken a blow to the leg. And again, with the heavy boys up the middle there, good tackle there by Jono Smith.
Yeah, that's just the touch predictable from Michaelhouse of slow ball. One big part in the middle of the field, and it's a bit scrappy now. They just need someone to spark it now. Someone to spark the attack, find a little gap. Kershaw goes through the middle. Knox takes it up. Turkington manages to hold on to a little slightly wayward pass. It's Knox once again with the pick and go. And another silly error. Fortunately, it's Andrew Holt who knocks it on as he tries to take over a one-off pass. And that's a real pity for Michaelhouse. They've made about 40 meters there. Series of phases being strung together. And unfortunately, it looks like the Hilton flank is being attended to by the medics. And they've brought the board on. You never want to see this.
Yeah, Jared Fenter, the Hilton player that's gone down there. Like I mentioned earlier, it looks like a leg injury rather than anything else. He's moving his head, and obviously not a back or neck injury. But yeah, I think that'll be a big blow for Hilton. He's a stalwart when it comes to the hard graft, and hitting rucks and carrying ball is his game. So he's had a really good impact so far. Let's hope it's nothing serious. Patrick McVeigh looks like he's coming on to replace him. Pat McVeigh scored a hat-trick for the second team in the game prior to this. I think he'll be full of confidence, and he's a tough bugger. So there's no doubt he'll get stuck in and make an impact from the word go.
Hilton were quite dominant in that second team match. What was the final score at the end?
I think it must have been close to 40 odd. There's a very close link between the first and the seconds. The boys have trained together a hell of a lot, and there's some real depth at Hilton this year in the senior division. So we've been very fortunate from that point of view, and there's some real workhorses. One or two really good players, but obviously the workhorses are making the difference there.
Yeah, the Michaelhouse second team and Fleischer, number 8, managed to score a few consolation tries towards the end, getting on the end of a little chip. An interception prior. So they made the scoreline somewhat respectable. Great scrum now from Michaelhouse. But they'll packed on again, still Hilton ball.
So just having a look at the Hilton setup here, you got Gareth Schroeder who's shifted into the fly-off position because he's a right footer. Standing behind this inside centre is Nick Winskill. He's a left footer, so what they do is they'll possibly shift it behind the centre's back to Winskill, who with his left foot will exit to this open side, or otherwise the option of Gareth Schroeder just clearing it from there. Better scrum by Hilton there. It's gone across to Winskill. Healthy left boot from Winskill there. Knocked it
not ideal to let it bounce from Michaelhouse. It's gone bouncing to the try line, so they'll probably dot it down for the 22. He's actually found a little bit of space down the right. He had time to take it quickly, but decides against it. Now it takes it quickly. And Michaelhouse won the penalty for being offsides at the 22 meter. A little bit of handbags being thrown around. I hope it settles down quickly. No need for this at schoolboy level, or at any level for that matter.
There's always a lot of hop in these games, and the boys always get carried away. And again, I don't think there seemed to be much in it. A couple of handbags, and that was about it. So I don't think we really need to make a big scene about this. Just get on and play the game.
Yeah, I think the most of the boys, like you said earlier, they know each other, quite like each other. And this has never been a rivalry with any kind of bitterness in it at all.
A hell of a lot of explaining there for...
or on all sides.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Yeah. Okay, Klasak really needs to make sure he finds touch now.
Useful left boot from him. Push them out towards the halfway line.
1 minute left in the first half, and I get the impression Michaelhouse aren't gonna try and count the time down. They're gonna want to get up into the Hilton half and score.
Am I right in saying this is Michaelhouse's first, possibly second line out?
Yeah, and both of them have gone over the jumper to Keenan Knox so far, so you can't really keep Knox out of the game. He's first receiver, tight head prop.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic game so far. He's a top player. He's really done well.
Calvert Evers is a nice rangy runner with the ball. Always gets in that little half outside gap. Jones takes it up the middle. I think it's
been quite interesting here so far. Michaelhouse's ball presentation at ruck time has been, I wouldn't say ordinary, but they haven't done themselves any favour. They've actually slowed their own ball down, so they've made it quite difficult for themselves. And then what they've done now is they've gone and kicked the ball away. So Schroeder with the right foot into the right, down to the Michaelhouse 22. A fantastic kick by him. Really, really done well there. So I think again, transferring that pressure. Michaelhouse had the ball, and they gave it away, and Hilton have just smashed it down into their 22.
Yeah, it kind of sums up the first half almost. Just a necessary error. But again, like you were saying, not really quick ruck ball, not winning the collisions, and that probably induces the misjudgment by Tom Price at 9 to try and make a little box kick, but Hilton read it very well, and it went straight to the sweeper behind the ruck.
Yeah, there's so many games nowadays where it's a game of two halves for, and there's no doubt that Michaelhouse will come out firing. It'll be quite interesting to see what. I don't think Hilton will be able to keep up this pressure right through the second half, but there's no doubt that Michaelhouse are going to have full go in that second half. So it will hopefully open up an interesting bit of rugby.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've given Hilton, if there's time for the last scrum, they've given them one final attacking opportunity, which is exactly what they would not have wanted. But like you said at halftime, Coach Andre van Wyk is a frank talker, and I'm sure he'll be fairly terse, if I can use that word, with Michaelhouse. There's just been too many errors so far.
Yeah, they've made it difficult for themselves, I think, through the pressure that Hilton have put on them, but they've also haven't helped themselves out with their decision making and their execution at this stage. So I think
Hilton have executed hardly any mistakes so far, especially with their exit plans, using the left boot of whose left boot are they using? Windskill, and then box kicks from Curtis. They've really done well to keep out of their half, while Michaelhouse has struggled to get out of the half, and there's big gap down the middle.
And he's dropped. Tom Fraser's dropped it with an open try line. He was straight through. I think a little let off for Michaelhouse. That could have been the ball game there.
Yeah, they'll be relieved. And he's see the ref has obviously got a different time on him than we've got on the screen here. He's playing the scrum, reminiscent of the famous Michaelhouse move, Punisher, used in the Pat Lambie era, and used against Michaelhouse this time. Acres of space down the middle of the field as the decoy centres of Hilton pulled the Michaelhouse centres apart, and unfortunately left wing of Hilton just taking it head high, which probably just distracted him briefly. And that 28-7 going into the shed would have been a mountain to climb for Michaelhouse, but they're not out of the woods yet. Deep within their own half. Scrum time.
Having said that, they have managed to hold out through a little bit of luck. Yeah, and if they can defend and play well for these last few remaining minutes, it might give them some confidence going into half time and into the second half. So, I think they will definitely take a little bit of heart out of it if they can exit here and put Hilton under a little bit of pressure for the last couple.
Yeah, they've just been short of a line break or winning a high kick or just those moments that turn the game. They just haven't been able to manufacture any of those yet. Managed to take it through the phases, but just nothing to just spark a real attack there. As Peral fends off, opens up some space for Glassock down the right. He's looking for support. Oh! And Kumalo can't hold on. End-to-end stuff here. If he'd managed to hold into that, he was likely away for the try. Curtis takes it up down the right for Hilton.
So again, just that final pass for Michaelhouse letting them down, and an opportunity. There's a little bit of space out wide here for Hilton, but using the heavies up the middle. Here we go. They got an opportunity a little bit wider now. Tom Fraser through to.
That looked very forward. And that's the first half done. And these boys are really athletes nowadays. Andre van Wyk, the Michaelhouse coach, a housemaster himself, so he's thoroughly involved in the boys' lives, understands them well. Opperman takes a kickoff well, manages to make some meters just on the ground there. Fraser Jones takes it up the middle.
So there's an opportunity here for Michaelhouse to run it out, being stragged by George Putter and Vaughan Williams. Again, Michaelhouse playing a fair bit of rugby in their own area, but they've seemed to work a penalty here for all sides. I've got a feeling that we'll see Michaelhouse keep the ball in hand as much as possible in the second half. I think they are going to look to hang on to it, to look to give it some width. I see the boys are already shifting out a little bit wider here. So there's, I think they're going to, Hilton are going to be tested defensively here.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened against Kersney last week. They actually scored the winning try. They rumbled all the way from the kickoff, pick and drives, and managed to get all the way into Kersney territory right after the hooter had gone, so to speak. So they do know how to take it through the phases, and they do know how to attack right up in the belly of the defence. They win the penalty now, and it's very important that they secure this line-out ball and keep some possession now, put some pressure on Hilton.
Yeah, and I think what will also come into the second half here is Hilton have been really good on the ground. They haven't had much opportunity because Michaelhouse have rucked really well, but that's because they've been throwing it up the middle, and it's quite easy. They've got numbers there, but if they do take it a little bit wider, they might possibly isolate themselves and give Hilton an opportunity to get onto the ball. As much as it could be in their favour to have a full go out wide, but it will open up some opportunity for Hilton. As I was saying, it got a little bit scrappy out wide there, and Michaelhouse having to scramble.
The moment it went out wide, just as you said, Hilton had an opportunity to turn over, but went off the boot, and Michaelhouse recovered. Now they find a little bit of space down the left-hand side. Calvert-Evers picks up and goes blind. Makes 5 meters or so down the left. And they win another penalty. So this has been a good start to the half for Michaelhouse. And they'll be wanting to now kick it into touch and just keep going.
Yeah, I think some really important momentum for them here. As we said, these first 10 minutes are going to play a big part in the result of this game. So a good start there by Michaelhouse, and they've got an opportunity to line out in the 5-yard.
No, they do. Michaelhouse do look a lot more effective when they use their forwards as the playmakers and carriers. So Keenan Knox and Calvert-Evers, Opperman being very influential. Again, they've gone for another slightly shorter line out, so that Knox and Opperman are at first receiver there. They overthrow, but fortunately for Michaelhouse, there was a referee wasn't happy about something and blew the whistle, so they're going to be retaking it. But Michaelhouse's speciality this season has been inching their way towards the line and then just through sheer determination getting over. And they get another penalty. I reckon they might have a tap and go from this position. The lineouts haven't been 100% secure, and yes, Price takes it, finds Calvert-Evers again. Rangy lock forward. They find Knox on the short side, and Knox worms his way over for the try. Such an influential player for Michaelhouse, such a talisman skipper. And it looks like we had for a real thriller of the last 30 minutes here as Michaelhouse do exactly what they needed to do, which was score first. They kept possession all the way from the kickoff, and they're going to be looking to do exactly the same thing of this next kickoff.
Perfect start for Michaelhouse, exactly what we said. Those that get in and score first does change the game up. So, 21-14, all of a sudden we got game on here.
It's almost like an old school Brumbies kind of pattern, just taking it through the phases over and over again, except perhaps not with a Larkham being the general, but rather a tight head prop and a lock.
He's a big unit, is Knox, and he's done well there. He's had a massive influence on this game already.
Glasslock gets the points, and there's one goal between the teams now. Sun's going behind the pines on the corner of Gilfillan, and we're in for a cracker of a last 30 minutes here. Oof, the wing was well in front of the kicker, but the ref called him back and he stopped. So it's play on. Knox once again takes it up. And Michaelhouse will keep trying to keep it in hand now. Exit game hasn't worked, so they're going to want to just run it from now on and keep it close nevertheless. Kershaw finds some space right up the middle. Knox again. No, that's Jones rather at first receiver. So we have Holt, who picks and goes. Feeds back to Knox. The ever-present Knox, who offloads to Glassock. Glassock to Parao. Swings the left to Rorick, the new man in the lineup this week, and he does very well to make about 10 meters down the left-hand side. All the momentum with Michaelhouse at this stage. Lucky to get away with some what looked like could have been an accidental offsides. Great pickup from Glassow. Not sure if the chip was the option though. They were doing so well with the ball in hand. The charge down comes. And Hilton are able to boot it away.
Winskill with a very, very educated left boot, smashing it into the corner. And a good chase by Fadzai Mashonga here. Key to make a tackle there. And they missed him, but some good follow-up by...
Unfortunately, I think Kumalo came well into that breakdown from the side. Saw the nuggety Liam England.
And again,
Harari farm boy using some of his resilience to stay on his feet there. But again, bad decision from Glassock there. Although I suppose bounce of the ball could have gone either way. But as it turns out, Hilton are now have an opportunity to strike back.
Massive transfer of momentum there. Michaelhouse have clearly shown that when they keep the ball in hand, they are a threat. And by kicking it away there, they gave it away. And again, possibly should have gone and exited from their own 22. So they created unnecessary pressure on themselves again there.
Yeah, it seems like the decision at halftime was to keep the ball in hand, and then for no reason at all, the chip came and they were making meters.
Graham Curtis with a little snipe there. Pick and drive again by Patrick McVeigh. Needs to be a release. There's an opportunity for Hilton in close here.
A little inside ball that he juggles and knocks on.
So the heat to the moment, one or two handling and mistakes by both sides. The calm, cool head in that 22 is what's key here, and both sides have let themselves down once or twice. But it is schoolboy rugby, and there's always going to be those mistakes. But again, this game's opened itself up to be for a fantastic finish. Chris, what's your take here? We've seen Michaelhouse keep the ball in hand quite nicely. They've got an opportunity to kick at an exit here, but
I'm trying to find the Hilton left wing. Is he up or is he back?
No, he's up in the line.
He's up in the line, so they're almost asking them to kick. But Parao takes it up as a runner and manages to offload. So Michaelhouse straight onto the attack, which is what they probably would have preferred than having to kick it away. And now they just need to be patient with the ball in hand, but they've again.
Yeah, and Vaughan Williams out wide, getting his hands on the ball and making life trivial for Michaelhouse.
Nice to see Hilton taking it quickly. Game keeps going.
Quick tap by Tristan Warren. I think they've earned themselves another penalty here for not retreating the 10. Graham Curtis, another little slap around the blind side. Gareth Schroeder, the fullback, has slotted in a little bit of width out wide. Yeah.
Got to make their tackle, yeah.
Heinrich Marks with the ball. Very strong in the contact. Good leg drive from him. He's managed to secure it. It's an opportunity for George Putter. Big unit.
Michaelhouse won the turnover. And I think the refs are judging that he went off his feet before he won the ball back.
Would like to think that Hilton would probably go for the points and try and knock this over. Again, like they did in the first half, trying to accumulate some points early on.
Take them more than one score away if they did it. Seems like Schroeder is taking the ball back, ready to kick. He's got the tee in hand. Michaelhouse boy just down with the medics at this stage.
Yeah, he seems to be alright. I think
he's sitting up, can't quite recognize who it is. But Schroeder will prepare to take the kick in the meantime. Beautiful setting here as the sun begins to make its way down.
And a good crowd, as you'd expect for a Michaelhouse Hilton fixture. I don't think this ground can hold too many more. Not too many open seats here. So yeah, really good crowd out here.
Oh, what's going on over there?
Looked like the first aiders were having a race to get off the field, and it resulted in a nosedive. So Gareth Schroeder lines us up now. He be mindful of the fact that he missed the last one. Very good strike there by Gareth Schroeder. Takes Hilton out to a 24-14 lead. Be interesting to see how Hilton get along here with from an exit point of view. There's no doubt the word will be going around with the boys there to say, listen boys, let's be clinical, let's get rid of it here. Let's go and play the game in the right areas.
Michael has been kicking it deep. I wonder if it's not worth trying for a short run to really get some contesting going. And they've managed to win the ball. Forwards again, trying to rumble it forward.
On the pick and drive there, and Hilton up for it from a defensive point of view. Stopped them up nicely. Good tackle there by Vaughan Williams and Nick Winskill in the midfield.
Knocks again, always making meters. I've got no idea what that penalty was for.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone in the side there.
Was there time for anyone to go in the side? I thought somebody picked it up and went immediately.
Unlucky because I think they had created some space for Michaelhouse out to the left there. So, yeah. Just a technical error there.
Yeah. It looks like Knox is carrying some kind of pain or injury in his right wrist, but is soldiering on, clutching his right arm between every movement.
Fantastic kick there by
Brilliant
Skill. The left boot pushing Michaelhouse back into deep into their territory. Tim Densham, the hooker, will be throwing it in here.
And again, Michaelhouse make it into Hilton territory, and then unfortunately cough up possession. That's a big luck for Hilton.
Great little bit of space out wide, yeah. Tom Fraser's got the ball. It's a good tackle. Defensively, fairly well organised there, Michaelhouse. It's got a little bit scrappy in that ruck there. Hilton earning themselves another penalty. George Pato with a big run again. It's a big unit that is. It's a bit like Noxie. Every time they carry, they make good roads. So it looks like he's clawed his way over there, but the refs pulled him back for the penalty because I think would have called it a double movement. So Graham Curtis carrying the ball, but yeah, I think he's pulled him back for the penalty. There's no doubt Hilton will knock it into touch and try and maul it from there.
Yeah, good call from the ref. We've often seen refs being quite lenient with the scrambling over the line on the floor. But Hilton putting together some really good rugby there. Beautiful hands down the left, finding some space, and Michaelhouse under the cosh a bit.
Yes, I see there's a centre that's gone down.
Yeah, it looks like Marco Parao is down. You can see Michaelhouse right on their line. Possibly a very crucial period of play coming up now.
I think either way it goes, whoever scores next is going to back themselves. They get their confidence up and they'll be backing themselves to continue. So if Hilton can keep the pressure on and convert it into points, I think they'd be very comfortable going into the last 15 minutes of the game.
So Parao's gone off at 12. Looks like here comes the maul.
It's been sacked, but Hilton have managed to get it going again. They look like they've set and they're in a good position there. It's gone to ground. Winskill gets the ball at 10.
Oh, brilliant bit of hands to get through the gap there. Referees called them back for another penalty.
Tristan Warren takes quickly, and
there's something illegal happened there.
A card.
It'd be a pity if this is a card. It looked a little bit iffy to me.
Yeah,
that breakdown.
There's so many cards being dished out nowadays. It's a fantastic derby between two.
Let's
two
hope he
strong
keeps
rivals.
them on the field.
Yeah, it's not necessary unless there's something blatant. Looks like he's going to the pocket there. He's managed to stay on the field.
That's the right call.
Yeah.
I think let's leave the cards for foul play at this level.
Tim Densham carries here for Hilton. Off to George Patta up the middle. George,
it's going to be hard to stop from there, and they don't stop him. And Patta gets the crucial score right into the posts.
It has definitely been a game where Knox and Patta have had massive influences up the middle of the field. They both carried incredibly well. So that takes Hilton out to a 29-14 lead with a kick to come. Important here for Michaelhouse to regroup quickly. They need to get some points back on the board.
Once Hilton has got going in their territory, it's almost been a point on the board every time for them. It just shows how costly their errors have been when they have got into the Hilton half, because Hilton are incredibly clinical, well-coached side. Lineouts operating effectively, breakdowns operating effectively, using Patta well down the middle, whether it's to take it up or to put a little pass across. Michaelhouse coming close to a turnover there, but just falling over the edge of the law on a few occasions. And eventually the pressure tells. And Patek finds himself with just too much space for Michaelhouse to stop him.
Yeah, and I think in the case of a George Pater, you can't give him too much space to run. You've got to get off the line and get in his face quickly. When he gets a head of steam going, it's not easy to get down. And I suppose similar would be said to about Noxie. When he gets going, it's not easy to bring down.
So 17 points in it. That's 3 scores for Michaelhouse. Just over 15 minutes left. They're going to have to perform their next score really quickly to have a go in the final quarter here. Got William Norton on the field in jersey 22. It seems like he's come on for Marco Parra with Thomas Rorick moving to the centres.
So the restart here from Michaelhouse. Tristan Warren's gone up and dropped it. Fadzai cleans up the scraps. He's done well to break 1 or 2 tackles and presented the ball nicely here. Hilton are making life tough for themselves, but a great break here by Vaughan Williams, and he's I suppose that's probably why forwards shouldn't be kicking.
Oh, fantastic break. As so often happens, the ball bounces, defense suddenly stands still, and if you pick it up with momentum, there's often space to be found, and Chip was probably the right call, but just caught it with the inside of his boot.
Yeah, and Vaughan Williams is an unbelievable soccer player, so I suppose he would have been backing himself to make more of that.
Another Michaelhouse player down just off screen.
Yeah, it looks like he's cramping up there. I think yeah, he's back in the game.
Oh, there's Rorick. I think they might be a little bit worse for wear after what was a really bit of a slugfest against Kersey. I think every single player on the bench got on for injuries.
Yeah, and Hilton creating some more pressure there, line-out time, and they've given up the ball to Hilton here. James on the charge there around the corner. Hilton again got some space out wide here. Gareth Schroeder on the inside. Heinrich Marks crashing over, so some fantastic interplay there by Hilton. Gareth Schroeder breaking down the right touchline and getting an inside pass to Chipa Mapesu, who got it back inside to Heinrich Marks, who finished it off nicely.
A bit of everything there. Hilton steal the line out. Pata has a great run up the middle. It gets them over the advantage line, gets them the momentum, and then some beautiful running from the back, some beautiful offloads. And one gets the impression that this might be just a bit of a bridge too far for Michaelhouse at this stage. But one thing's for certain, they're going to keep coming at Hilton right till the end.
It's been quite interesting to see how this game pans out here, because there's two types of finishes to this. Michaelhouse lie down, then Hilton are going to run away with this, but I somehow don't get the impression that Michaelhouse will. I think they'll give it a full go until the end. It'll be interesting to see if they throw the ball around, which they're going to have to, and if Hilton respond to that. So I still think either way we're in for a big last 15 minutes. Gareth Schrader adding the 2. He's had a good day with the boot today. And let's push it out to 38-14 in favour of Hilton.
So for Michaelhouse, the equation is 4 tries at least? 24? Yeah. 3 tries at least. Perhaps they can get away with a 3-pointer at some stage. That's the equation. It's a tall order. But you can bet your house on the fact that they're going to be going for it full out.
Yeah, George Putter's secured the kickoff well, and they've sent it on to Winskill, who's exited reasonably well. Good defensive line from Hilton, making the tackle on the halfway line, and putting Michaelhouse under some real pressure here. Counteratt's a good one too.
Yeah, you just get the impression England's got to just, or his supporters have got to just give him the opportunity just to shift the target there a little bit. And there's been a little bit of a knock from Hilton, so Michaelhouse will will get the ball back after turning it over at the breakdown. But when you take it up from exactly where you receive the kick, you've got all the chasers running on you. No one has to change direction, and it is a play that I think Michaelhouse can anticipate at this stage. Maybe leaving an 8th man back, and unfortunately England got isolated slightly. A little knock on by Hilton, and Michaelhouse will be looking for something special of this scrum.
Yeah, I think you have run the danger of saying, well, let's keep the ball in hand, and when with Hilton, Winska's got a big boot on him, so pushing England that far back is very tough for his support runners to get back to him. So if you're going to keep the ball and run it from there, you've got to make sure that one, you're getting support back, and two, you're able to take it back to where that support is.
It just shows you the length on the kick is just so valuable. Calvert-Evers finds a half gap, pops it up to Glassock. Glassock gets to ground. Sorry, it wasn't Glassock, it was Opperman. Managing to take it up 20 meters or so. And there goes Glassock. Finds a gap, puts the chip in. He's got space in front of him. It just needs to pop up for him. And the ref's ruling a knock on. Ooh. I thought he'd managed to regain possession, but the refs decided otherwise.
Yeah, I think he's got a little hand on it, and the ball's actually bounced, and he's grounded it as it's bounced. So, in fairness to the ref,
there's no TMO option for him. So
unfortunately,
he just has to go with what he sees in the moment. Yeah. Always tough to do. And it's happened right in front of the Michaelhouse boys, who obviously expressing subtly their displeasure. But they'll be right around their side, yeah.
Quite interesting there. So Knox has had such a fantastic game in the midfield, running the ball up. And what he's done is he's just released the Michaelhouse fullback, I think it was.
The fly half. He's released the fly half.
So he's just tipped it off to the fly half. So all the Hilton boys have got on to mark him and make a hit, and he's just shifted one channel wider, and the fly half's gone through in a fantastic line break.
I suppose when you've got such a strong runner, you've got to use him as a link as well. Draw the men in, get somebody running off his shoulder.
So Hilton under a little bit of pressure here. It's scrum time in the under-22, deep in the under-22. And again, they'll be tested from an exit point of view.
But only one man. Oh no, Kumala's also back on the right wing, and then England back. So there's plenty of space for the boot. I wonder if they'll take it up a phase first. But Hilton really probably will have no interest in playing off their own line at this stage of the game.
Yeah, that's probably been the key to the success for Hilton so far, is that they've made very few mistakes, but they've played in the right areas. Michaelhouse would probably never think that they've been comfortable and spend a load of time in Hilton's 22. So the exit by Gareth Schroeder is a good one. He's taken play out to just short of the 10-yard line. And again, it just shows you the value of a successful exit, transferring the pressure a little bit. Michaelhouse have dropped one or two lineouts of late, so they'll be feeling it.
They've had used a lot of short lineouts, which has probably made them just a touch predictable. Oh, no, it doesn't help when you have a short line and the ref stops you. But one thing you've noticed about how the Hilton have exited well and have played in the right areas is that their kicker has never been under pressure. They've always set him up well to really get a good long kick in, whether it's from 9 or setting up 10 out wide with his left boot. I suppose it does really help to have a strong left boot option.
See, David Rodseth has come on and replaced George Putter. George Putter having a big game. He carried really well up the middle and won a few collisions. So
Turkington finds a little space, speeds England. And Michaelhouse get the penalty for Hilton not releasing the tackler. With the lineup being a little bit iffy, I think they should just really speed the game up and go as quickly as they can, yeah. But it looks like Glassock will go for touches because probably the game slowed down just too much for Price to take the quick option. But it'd be nice for the crowd if a quick try here, a quick try or two, and have a bit of pressure at the end on Hilton, on the home side.
Is the Michaelhouse guy. So Hilton run 80 yards here and score will also be a fantastic end.
That would be nice to watch as well. Knox again. Up the middle. Does well to regather. Calvert-Evers in contact. And they just inch forward every phase. Oh, really? They managed to win back the chip. And Opperman is surging towards the line and it looks like he's over. I'm not sure if the ref's given it yet. He's given it.
Yeah, I think probably not the option that comes to mind when you're chipping. Well, you're kicking up and under in that situation. But they did manage to regather and he snuck over. So
they're almost just using willpower to make their way down the field there, Michaelhouse. Again, not looking as pretty as you'd want it. A very strange kind of chip to do right on the 5 meter line, but it works for them. And they edge that a little bit closer. 5 minutes to play. Let's see if they can pull a little bit of Highlanders versus Cheetahs in the last 5 minutes. Kick is good. And they're within 17. Still 3 scores out there.
So the question here is, have Hilton gone to sleep a little bit, or have Michaelhouse up the tempo? There's no doubt that Hilton will come back now. And again, I suppose it's the side that have kept the ball, have managed to score points. In a relatively high-scoring game. A couple of really good tries. Daniel Da Costa's on the field replacing Mashonga. He's done really well in the chase there. He has managed to give away a penalty. Looks like Michaelhouse looking to spread it wide here.
Almost the advantage of being so far back. You can just go for it. And often that works out for you. Knox again. No, that's sorry. Again, Fraser Jones up the middle. Slightly loose pass, but Nick Rhodes-Jones, who's on the field for replacing the replacement, Will Norton. Oh, there's all sorts of dark arts happening at the bottom of the ruck. Get an opportunity to go deep into Hilton territory now.
One or two silly errors creeping into Hilton's game here. Feeling a bit of pressure.
Oh, finds a brilliant touch.
As we said earlier, this game's never over until that final whistle goes, and Michaelhouse really are putting Hilton under pressure. They've done well to come back into this. What was at one stage going to be one-sided, they really have turned it up and are making Hilton work for everything here.
Pretty scrappy at the line out there from Hilton. Nice to see Hilton running from their line, spaced out wide.
Daniel Da Costa.
Oh, I get the feeling he needed to release that one first.
Yeah, Daniel Da Costa just getting held in the tackle and not releasing and getting up and going again. Again, I think Hilton have got a little bit frantic here at this stage, and a couple of basic mistakes, and it's starting to cost them a little bit.
Michaelhouse really, they've got the substitute hooker on and Paul Mtetwa. He struggled to find his man, and they've really got to get this one right now.
Good throw there by Michaelhouse, and they've dropped it off to the centre who's had a go.
They've used Turkington there to take it up in the middle. Calvert-Evers now. A little bit of a delay in the support arrive. They've got another penalty back there. I think it's worth just tapping and going at this stage. And Kershaw elects to do just that. Gives it to Knox out wide on the right.
Another penalty coming to Michaelhouse here.
There goes Turkington, this big strong boy. third year of actually playing first team. And Glasslock finds a bit of space on the outside, but some great defense pulls him back. I wondered if that was slightly high, but the ref's going back. Michaelhouse likely only have time for one more score.
Yeah, Hilton conceding a couple of tries here, so a couple of penalties here, so the discipline is letting them down a little bit here. But hats off to Michaelhouse. They've come back strong in the last couple of minutes and put Hilton under real pressure.
Oof. Ref calls them back. It looks like Hilton are going to hold us up. Michaelhouse are going to need to get this over the try line if they're going to get the ball back. It's the body position a little bit high there, and they've turned it over.
Nick Winskill on the exit, and he's done a fantastic job. He's knocked it out from behind his own try line, stuck it up next to the half.
Michaelhouse will be disappointed with that. The quick tap got, they had to retake it. I wonder if it wasn't in the right place. Refs do really enjoy you being exactly on the right spot that they've chosen for you. Johnston up high, feeds Price, finds Glasslock. Kershaw steps in the midfield, it's quick ball. They switch direction. Knox feeds, looks like Mtetwa on the right hand side. Knox picks up. A little offload in the tackle to Kumalo from Calvert-Evers. It's a little bit too close to the touchline. No, he manages to keep it in somehow to Mtetwa. Some good counter-racking from Hilton here, and they've won the turnover.
On the boot there from Graham Curtis, he stuck a really good kick.
Might have been in the air still when he got tackled there, but the ref says play on, and Hilton won the turnover again. It seems like Michaelhouse just tiring a little bit now in these final exchanges.
It's a good line speed there by Michaelhouse. They've put Hilton under real pressure and managed to catch him behind the advantage line. Yeah, again, there's an opportunity to get it wider for Hilton. They've got an overlap here. Vaughan Williams carrying well into 22, possibly could have offloaded there. Looks like he's been held up. He's done well to get it out. No, hasn't got it out. Michaelhouse doing well to prevent that from coming out, and obviously they then get to keep the ball. So Chris, obviously the last couple of minutes before we wind things up here, again a wonderful display of schoolboy rugby. Not overly structured. The players have had a bit of freedom to have a go. Both sides have scored some really good tries. There have been some strong individual performances. What stood out for you from a Michaelhouse point of view, the players wise, who stood out for you?
I think the unsung hero, the guy behind the scenes, has been the blindside flank, Nick Kershaw. He's been everywhere. He's done a lot of hard work. Calvert-Evers is always visible. But I think once again it's Keenan Knox who, a lot of the players dictated around him. But unfortunately for Michaelhouse, just mistakes just at the wrong time for them have cost them today, and they've come up against a very well-coached, clinical Hilton side who put them under pressure, who know how to get out of their own half, who are good on the floor, and Hilton, I think, are going to be well-deserving victors in this leg of a schoolboy rivalry that goes back over a century.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking from a Hilton point of view, the general in Nick Winskill has been fantastic from an exit point of view. He's controlled things nicely and kept Hilton in good areas. Gareth Schroeder with the boots been really good, kept the scoreboard ticking over. But again, I think George Patta was really strong up the midfield. But I would say the Hilton tight five for me have been good. They've managed the set piece pretty well, and they've carried the ball up well. They won a lot of collisions in the game today. and which has allowed a guy like Chipa Mapeso to have a little bit of space to run in. So a good all-round performance. And as I say that, Nick Winskill misses touch. But a good all-round performance from a Hilton point of view.
That is a huge tackle.
Yeah, by Daniel Da Costa, who's just come on the field. Yeah.
Must be close to the final whistle.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And that's the ball game.
Yeah, good result for Hilton College there. I think really good schoolboy rugby played from both sides, but I think maybe Michaelhouse gave up points a little bit too easily at times. Hilton did keep them under pressure, but in a situation like that, you want guys to be a little bit more dogged in defence and come away with.
I think the first half was costly when for the first 20 minutes they just really made mistakes that kept them out of the game for too long, and that early lead from Hilton was never really relinquished. And with such a lead in hand, they were able just to play a really well-balanced brand of rugby. Using the forwards, playing out wide, kicking when that was the right option to take. They didn't really make any tactical errors, and Fly putting them in the right areas. Tight five, keeping them going forward, and then backline striking when necessary. So, full credit to Hilton for a great victory, and of course, near the end of the season. Michaelhouse will be playing host to Hilton, and we'll get to watch this fixture all over again.
There's no doubt it'll be another big game of rugby, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more excitement in that game as well. So, Chris, to you, thanks very much. It's been a great day of rugby, great day of schoolboy rugby for that matter, and I think fun was had by all.
Oh.